Hello.
Good morning.
What's going on, Mike?
Not much. How you doing?
Waking up and battling these damn allergies.
Where are you located?
Las Vegas.
Oh, be flying there in 2 days.
Yes, sir. You looking forward to that festival?
If I get in.
Yeah.
My guest list submission is still a little bit in limbo.
Okay.
I'm not. So if I don't get in, I don't really care a whole lot. I'm mainly going to see Sisters of Mercy the following day.
Yeah.
And I have tickets for that, so I can definitely get in.
Yeah. They're playing at the Brooklyn Bowl.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've heard it's cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. It's kind of similar to the House of Blues, but the stage is lower and the pit area just goes way back. But it's kind of built similar to the House of Blues though. It's kind of the same vibe. But on the side there's literally a bowling alley. So people bowling and fucking off over there. It's kind of cool. Different.
All right. Right on.
So we're pretty much on release day for the new album, right?
We are. Comes out tomorrow.
I mean, 3 years went by pretty quick, but it still was 3 years though. So are you excited to have some new music out?
Yeah, we've been sitting on this a long time, and I feel like we let somebody watch half of a movie, and they're like, "Hey, you don't get to see how it ends for another 3 years, so don't get too excited." But we're finally there. We didn't want to release this record until we could actually get out on tour again.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're not going back out on tour until October, but at least we got one tour under our belts a couple months ago, and we got some new guys in the band. We got John Miller back, and I think Des and I wanted to get back out on there and kind of feel it out. We're like, what is touring like now? We've been home for 3.5 years, and am I still going to enjoy it or not? And luckily, the second I got on the bus, I was like, okay, this is the most relaxed I've been in since the last time we toured. I just love being on tour. I'm much more relaxed on tour than I am at home.
Right. Got back into your comfort zone.
Yeah, it feels that way. My natural habitat.
You road dog, you.
I am.
How is it having John back in the band?
Awesome. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. We'd always kept in touch, but not a ton. He lives on the other side of the country now. But John and I always got along very, very well. He's very easy to write with. He's always been easy to tour with. He was always fun to party with. But we're older now. He's married. I'm getting married soon. We're both in our 40s. And dude, we met when he was 19 and I was 18 years old. I mean, we've known each other a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And looking to my right on stage and seeing him over there, like I couldn't be happier. It's really nice to have him back, and he hasn't skipped a beat. He's playing his bass great. He looks great on stage, and he just overall is bringing a very positive vibe back into the Devildriver camp. Not that we weren't negative in the past. We've always been a pretty happy band.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to have him back, and I'm looking forward to really digging into writing a new record this year with him and seeing what he brings to the table, because everyone always liked John's songs.
Yeah.
He was, I would write things that, Berkland didn't really feel, but sometimes, we'd work on things together and he'd bring in his flavor into the writing and vice versa until we got a song to where it was. But almost everything that John Miller would bring to the table back in the early days of the band, everybody liked. And so he's a big part of the writing process for this band. He wrote a lot of cool stuff, and I'm excited to have that element back for our next record. So the next record is going to be pretty special after this one, just because Miller's back in the band. I think it's going to make a lot of fans very happy.
I believe it. And like you said, it is nice to see a familiar face again, you know, with all the member changes and all that. So to have a piece of that original lineup back, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really happy with the lineup right now. I mean, I miss the old guys. You know, Neil and Austin and Ashes are some of my best friends. Me, Birkland, Kendrick, and Miller all on like a WhatsApp group chat, and you know, very rarely does a week go by where we're not, you know, talking to one another. So I still have a very good relationship with everybody, and but it's nice. It's very nice to have Miller back.
How's all the lineup changes over the years? How's that affected you or your just your approach to the band and your writing and all that?
Yeah, it's sad. It makes me sad when it happens. You know, when you know, Miller Miller had to go for a little while to, you know, straighten things out in his own life. You know, the touring lifestyle I think had gotten to him a little too much. And then shortly after that we lost Birkland and Jeff, and I you know, I knew that it was coming. They told me, but you know, it hit me hard. You know, I was out surfing, and I think I was in the water for like 6 hours to stay. You know, I just didn't want to get out. And when I finally got out of the water, I go into my car, look at my phone, and there's just like 50 missed calls and 75 text messages. And I check my email and it's just the same. And I'm just like, God damn, did somebody die? What the fuck?
Right.
And, you know, it's our manager, Steve, at the time, just texting me and wondering if I'm quitting the band too, because Jeff and John had just told our management, they had told Dez. And I was just like, oh, fuck, you know? And that's when it kind of hit me that they were really leaving the band. And, you know, it made me sad. You know, they're my bros. But, you know, Dez had put Devildriver on hiatus and was going back to Cold Chamber to do that reunion tour and reunion album. And I was in more of a position because I could do studio work at home where I wasn't really worried financially if I couldn't rely on Devildriver. So, but you know, John and Jeff weren't in that same situation. They needed to work, and so that was part of their decision on why it's like John is like, well, you know, I think this is time for me to go do my own thing because I need my security in the music business. And at that point, Jeff I don't think he really wanted to tour anymore. I think he had kind of had it. And so he obviously went on to different business ventures. And then same thing, you know, with Neil and Austin. It was rough, you know, and didn't make me happy. But, you know, and a lot of times, both times I thought I was going to have this huge wall up with the new members when I got on tour and kind of be standoffish and kind of pull that whole bullshit card. But I didn't, you know, like when Neil and Austin joined the band, we became friends instantly.
Yeah.
They were awesome writing partners. You know, we spent so many hours in this room right here working on music together. I mean, it was great. We never argued. There was never a raised voice. We just had fun. And
that's all you can ask for.
And that's what it was like with Dealing with Demons, the recording process. You know, we brought Steve Evans into the mix for the first time. He had worked with us on the Outlaw record, but it was mostly with Austin recording drums because we did all the guitars and bass in here. But so it was finally me, Neil, Steve, and Austin really got to jump into a room, work on these songs, and it was doing 20 songs for one album is a serious undertaking. I mean, it's a lot of fucking work. But once again, you know, there was no arguments, there was no raised voices, and like even though it was work, we had a blast. It was so much fun working on these albums. And you know, same thing when once again, you know, we got Miller came back. So that was good, but I obviously didn't know what to think about Davier and Alex. I had toured with both of them before, but just not in Devildriver.
Mm.
So I knew them a little bit. We had hung out together, and but the second we got into rehearsal for this Cradle of Filth tour that we did, took about an hour. I don't even think we had played a song yet. We were just setting up at our rehearsal space, and I was just like, I fucking love these guys so much. This is gonna be awesome. So it's bittersweet. There's aspects of it that I don't like because I miss the guys that I've grown to become very good friends with, but um, everybody has to do what's best for them.
Absolutely. Especially in today's world, right?
Yeah. Today's world has made a lot of people think very differently. Luckily, you know, once again, I'm very fortunate. The pandemic didn't really have a huge effect on me,
Same.
and I could still surf. I could still play music. Um, I had just recently met my future wife. It finally gave me a chance to to get a dog again. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm at home. I can train the thing for a while before I go back out on tour, and to make sure the dog is okay with the wife when I leave. And I was just like, I'm going to use this pandemic to do all the shit that I haven't had a chance to do in the past.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very fortunate, but it is nice to get back out on tour and kind of start to feel normal again.
Right. Even though you got to be a regular person for a little bit, now being back on the road and getting back into the machine, now you're normal again.
Yeah, kind of. It's I do feel like touring is my natural habitat.
So when you guys were recording Dealing with Demons, did you record both albums simultaneously?
Yep. We didn't know which songs were going to go on volume 1 or volume 2, and everything was written all at the same time. And you know, I would say we did have a lot of leftover songs, especially stuff that Neil had written.
Mm.
And we went into pre-production, I would say, with maybe 22 songs, and eventually took 2 of those out and said we weren't going to work on those, and then immediately went to Steve's studio, started recording them. Got done with the instrumental portion of the record in November of 2018.
Okay.
Dez finished his vocals in February of 2019, and we released volume 1, I believe, early March, or not March, but early 2020, and then have been sitting on volume 2 ever since. It's weird.
So
But
you're
it was a good thing because the pandemic hit, and we're like, all right, well, we can release this one now, and we could just hang on to the other half until it's suitable. So I think it actually kind of ended up working out in our favor.
right, but you're definitely ready to move past these songs too, huh? Like even though you haven't been able to play them live, um, I'm sure you're ready to just like say, and having John back, you're just ready to start fresh and have some new materials. I mean, you've been sitting on this stuff for 4 to 5 years now, so
Yeah, we've already started working on the next record, and probably, I'm guessing we'll probably start recording a new record in early 2024.
Do you have any more tours lined up after Cradle, or is that still in process?
As of now, I've seen a tentative routing for October, possibly going into November with Cradle of Filth in the States again. I've heard talk of doing a third run with them early next year in the States. Japan is a possibility. Australia is a possibility. Our management has been working on that, and I'm hoping we'll go back to Europe for a festival run in 2024. It's a little too far out right now to say for sure or not.
Okay. So what did you think of the first Devildriver album? because obviously that was before you joined. So
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And God, I believe Meet the Wretched was my favorite song on that. And I got to see the guys play once. The first time I went to go see them, I got stuck in traffic. They were playing the House of Blues LA with Opeth.
Wow.
And I missed their show.
Right.
Totally bummed me out. And because with all the guys, we were all in a band together, all of us except for Dez in Santa Barbara. And I'd known the guys since I was 18 years old. And we hung out, we partied. They all lived right next to the city college in Santa Barbara where we were all going to school. So in between classes, if I had time to kill, that was their house.
Yeah.
Where Jeff Kendrick, John Miller lived, and then Birkeland lived literally the next block over, like 4 houses away. And they also had a roommate named Bruce that became my roommate in the last place I lived in Santa Barbara. So we were all really tight. And that's kind of, that's how everything got started with them. But finally got to see them open up for, no, let's see. No, the Opeth show was the second time I was going to see them. I take that back. Their first tours was Super Joint Ritual, and I went to go see them play at the Ventura Theater in California.
Okay.
And I thought they were fantastic. Like the Ventura Theater is not really well known for its acoustics. And I've seen a lot of shows there that sound absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
But this guy Rudy that was doing sound for them, Rudy Paris on that tour, he made them sound good. And I'd never seen Cold Chamber. I'd never seen Dez perform live before, but it was really cool. And I would say maybe 3 to 6 months before I joined the band, I had a dream that I was in the band playing Meet the Wretched with the guys on stage. And I remember it very vividly, but I do remember I was on stage right. I wasn't on stage left, where it's kind of became my permanent position when we play. But yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy. I guess deep down, I did want to be in the band, and I never in a million years thought Evan or Jeff would leave. But Evan, it just wasn't working out, and I was in the right place at the right time, and
20 years later, here we are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know it's gone by very quick. I saw them on the Super Joint tour as well at the House of Blues here in Vegas, and I was there to see them too. Strangely, I knew of Cold Chamber, but I hadn't listened to them. But I knew about them, and when Devildriver was premiering the I Could Care Less video, I remember watching it on Headbangers Ball, and then back in the day, you could download MP3s off of the Roadrunner website, and so I was just like all about it. Like, and when I saw that they were coming with Super Joint, I was like, I gotta go. Like, I have to. And then now I've seen Devildriver 8 times, I want to say, and never a bad show. Never a bad show.
Yes, man. We try.
A little bit.
We try. We like to have fun up there, and we've always been that band there's a little bit of a competitiveness as far as making sure that other bands don't make us look bad up there.
I think you typically win that competition, so
that's good to hear. We're doing something right.
So with Fury of the Maker's Hand, were you there for the entire writing process, or did they already have a few things going?
They had a few things going. I think they had 4 songs, if I remember correctly. Because part of the reason they wanted me in the band is because I had the ability to record demos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that was a big part. Like, well, if we hire Mike permanently, he could help us record the demos, and that could be because none of us know how to turn on a computer. And yeah, they had Sin and Sacrifice, Ripped Apart, Driving Down the Darkness, and God, one other song. Don't think End of the Line was written, at that point, but I actually heard them rehearsing with Evan, because I had a rehearsal space with my band right next door to where Devildriver rehearsed in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And I remember hearing them play instrumentally Sin and Sacrifice, and just standing out in front of the practice space and listening to it. And I'm just like, fuck, I really want to be in this band. Like, it just sounds so good. And they started on my first tour with them, when that was completely last minute, with In Flames through Europe. They started teaching me some of the new stuff, and but so those 4 songs, I was around as far as getting them from the rehearsal studio into some form of recording for a demo, and then I was around for everything else after that.
Mm. What was the first song that you ever brought to the table for them?
Hold Back the Day.
Okay. That's a good one to start with.
I tried to tread lightly when I first joined the band. You join a club and you don't go up the ranks right away. You gotta
earn them
that
stripes.
takes that takes time. So I was like, yeah, I'll be the recording intern for Devildriver on this first run, and try to throw as much onto the table as I can, and just lay back and see what sticks. So luckily, yeah, I didn't have a huge part of writing on that album, but I wrote a lot of Hold Back the Day, and like that chorus and that verse and that song is something I wrote on the back of the bus while we were on Ozfest in 2004. And I think I wrote one little riff and Ripped Apart. I wrote a lot of Pale Horse Apocalypse, and the title track Fury of Our Maker's Hand, I had some influence too, like Miller. And I very distinctly remember me and Miller working on that in my rehearsal space, which actually was my home at the time too, because we were all so dirt poor. I just had to move out of my house and move into my rehearsal space, and yeah, that got interesting.
I can imagine.
Luckily, it was not Devildriver's rehearsal space. So basically, when my old band, disbanded when I joined Devildriver, and so luckily I had this. I think it cost me like $300 a month to live in this thing. But I had a friend that had a bunch of musical gear, and that needed storage for, so he gave me $100 a month. So I was literally paying $200 a month for where I was living, and in between tours, I would work at the Starbucks down the street from it. But it was in a college town, so it was not a bad experience. I kind of had fun living there, even though I didn't have any running water. I didn't have a bathroom. I had electricity, and I was able to steal internet from someone in the area, because at that time a lot of people didn't protect their Wi-Fi with a password, and that's kind of how that situation went on for about a year.
So you saying that you pay $200 a month in California?
Yes. Yes, in Santa Barbara, no less, which is not a cheap place to live.
No, that's an experience all in itself. So what was Devildriver? Was that your first like real touring experience? And
I had never been on tour before. I was never in a band in high school, and I mean, I was in 2 for a very short while, but I mean, it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I was in a kind of like a blackened progressive death metal band when I first came up to Santa Barbara, and we just played locally. Had one show at the Whiskey, had a show at the Troubadour, and a few other places, small clubs in LA. And then I joined this band Grolby, which consisted of all the guys from the original lineup of Devildriver, except for Evan and Dez. And I was in that band for less than a year until everyone, Berkland went to Devildriver, and then John joined Devildriver, and then Jeff joined Devildriver, and then like 2 years later, I joined Devildriver, and it was like, oh well, we got the band back together again.
That worked out.
Yeah, it ended up working out. But when the first tour I did with Devildriver in Europe, opening up for In Flames, that was the first real tour where it's like, I'm on a bus and I got a guitar tech, and we're in a different city every day. It was a short one. It was only like 2 or 3 weeks, but I loved it.
How did that how did that affect you overall? Was that like, okay, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always known since I was about 6 years old that I wanted to be in a touring band, but a lot of people get out there and it's not what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And because it's not, it's been romanticized to all hell from MTV and these, let's say like the vulgar videos and year and a half in the lifetime of Metallica and all that shit that we watched back in the day. And those are bands that are touring on a much higher budget than what Devildriver has ever done. But yeah, I still love it. I got out there and I was like, I want to drop out of college. I want to be in this band, and I don't want to go back to my life before this tour. And they didn't hire me until maybe, I think, about 3 weeks after we got home from that tour, because they were considering one other guy. And because I was just supposed to fill in for 3 weeks. But when I was over there with them, I started to discover that it becoming a permanent thing might be possible.
Right.
And so I came home. Give the guys some time to weigh their options, and luckily they ended up picking me, and here we are.
All right. So you do some production work. How did you fall into that, or is that kind of going back to you can record some demos?
I started to take up recording as a means just to save myself money from my own bands, as far as not having to pay for so much studio time because it's expensive.
Yeah.
So that was the appeal. I was never really into like who mixed this record or who produced this record or anything like that. It's not really something that I explored when I was younger. But the more I did it, the more I found out I really enjoy it. And I just, I've always been the guy behind the computer that had to record demos, program drums to them so we can all just listen to them in our cars and figure out how we're going to, finish the songs. And, over time, I started to get that urge to produce and mix. And, unfortunately, Devildriver keeps me so busy. I haven't really had a whole lot of time to do that with other bands, but whenever I can, and I jump on the opportunity.
Is there anyone that you'd specifically like to record, even if it was just for fun?
Can't think of anybody offhand. I haven't really thought about it in a while. I've been writing for other things, and trying to a long time ago we gave a record to a music library, and they licensed songs out to TV shows and movies and commercials and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I've been spending my time lately, is writing music for things like that. Okay. Things that a lot of people never hear and would have no idea if they did hear it that it was me.
Yeah. Have you heard any of those things like out and about anywhere?
Oh yeah, I was watching Cobra Kai about a year ago, and one of the songs came on, and
it
was an old song. I had to actually get my Shazam out and be like, and rewind it, play it again. I'm like, oh yeah, check that out. I got a song on Cobra Kai.
There you go. So
hey dude, I think I got another interview right now. Yeah, I do. So
cut it short.
Yeah, I'm afraid our time is up. I'm already a minute late to my next one.
All right. Well, Mike, I appreciate you and thank you for giving me the time and hope to see you soon and enjoy your stay in Vegas.
Thanks, dude. I I'm texting you my email right now, so hit me up when you post this and I'll get it up on all my socials for you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, dude. Thank you.